When it comes to managing your money, it's not too intuitive. And of course, there can be a lot of challenges, especially when you're starting out like I was many years ago. That's the big reason why I started this YouTube channel and trying to make it easier for us to manage money. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at 4 genius and practical money tips from Tony Robbins. And I want to break these down because the financial wisdom and the cost of not adhering to these or not following these can be very great. So the first one is harnessing the power of compounding interest. Now, there was a multitude of years until I was actually in my mid 30s where I really understood compounding interest, even looking at the stock market, CDs, things of that nature, where you can actually turn your money, your savings, your investment into a machine that literally can compound and double every 7 years, which is roughly the estimation that they use. When you start thinking of retirement planning, when you start looking at a child's education, even thinking of you, the most powerful thing that we do have in our toolkit is time. When you think about the unsurmountable edge, really the ability to compound that money, when you think of Warren Buffett, when you think of the great investors that we see of our time, it is about investing on a consistent basis and allowing that money to grow over an extended amount of time. Now, of course, the younger you are, the earlier that you start. If you're 18, if you're 20, if you start putting money into IRA accounts, Roth IRA accounts, if you start putting it into your 401k, leveraging compounding interest can make monster goals when it comes to retirement. Very, very realistic, very doable, and honestly, a lot less intimidating when you look at a full figure where, hey, fully funded retirement, people are saying 1.2, 1.4 million. If you start breaking that down over 40 or 50 years with regular contributions and that compounding interest over time, it can make it very achievable. Now, of course, the compounding effect isn't linear. It is exponentially on the amount of money you have. So you can start growing. And honestly, when you start looking at someone like Warren Buffett, with his large portfolio, when he hit the age of 65, the compounding just goes off the scale. When you look from 65 to 70, from 65 to 75, even 65 to 85, it is incredible how fast and how much it can compound. When you start even thinking of high yield savings accounts, bonds, mutual funds, investments, it is starting early, staying consistent, which if I knew this 10 years earlier than I did starting really at 35 to put a lot of money into my 401k, I would have much higher balances than I do today. And what we look at is knowing the difference between the pre-tax and the post-tax retirement plan. This is, again, something that I really realized and emphasized later in life when I started getting to the point of having the opportunity to put money into Roth accounts. So instead of having those pre-tax accounts at a younger age, starting to build up and have those Roth accounts at a much younger age, it makes a big difference. It may not look like it today, but when you start getting into retirement, when you start being required to take those RMDs, I know not only the contributions you put in there, but taking it on the growth as well, it can make a big game-changing difference. And if you're looking to create generational wealth like I am, the Roth one is a lot easier to pass on as inheritance to your kids. And while millions of Americans have a retirement account in place, scary point is they don't have and they don't know what the taxes are going to be in the future. For you and I, if we had a crystal ball, that would make it incredibly clear. But as it sits right now, taxes in the future are going to be higher than they are now. Possibility is yes, depending on what the brackets are, what exactly they're going to look like. That is the exact reason when I look at putting a portion of my earnings into that Roth, I do it in the entirety. So the way that I did it and the way that I feel like it could work for you as well is doing it kind of mathematically. So what I'm thinking is, in addition to Social Security, when it comes to my investing strategy, I am putting roughly 20% of my investment portfolio into a traditional or a tax advantage account, putting 80% in the Roth. So as you can see, there is a very, very big chunk that I'm putting into the Roth with all of my contributions, everything. 80% of that contribution is going into the Roth. It is going into my Roth 401k. Now, the reason for this is because right now, we are in a very high tax bracket. Chances are we are going to be in a much lower tax bracket when we get into retirement. But that is going to be the point where I'm going to have to start taking money out of those pre-tax accounts. That is the money that I am planning. That 20% in that retirement portfolio is what I'm anticipating I'm going to need and really be able to utilize during retirement through RMDs, through regular distributions, making sure that that is going to be the paycheck that I'm going to be cashing out during retirement. That leaves 80% of my investable assets that are in that Roth variant, meaning the taxes are already paid. It is growing tax free. When I retire at the age of 50, 65, whatever it may be, I am going to have a multitude of years to continue the compounding interest that we're going to see in those accounts, because I do not have a plan at this point and even in the future to touch any of the money that is in those Roth accounts. Now, looking at number 3, committed to consistent savings. This again is one of the big things. It doesn't matter if you earn 30K, 50K, 100K, $1 million a year. If you're not saving anything from your paycheck, it doesn't make sense. When you start looking at this and setting aside a fixed amount every single week into a savings account, into an investment account, this is the kind of steady growth. I mean, when you think of an entire mountain, let's say you're climbing Everest, it is going to be one step at a time. Think of the exact same thing when it comes to the commitment to savings. If you want to retire and be wealthy when you retire, have a fully funded retirement plan, it is going to be that one step at a time of making contributions every single time you get your paycheck. And this, of course, is going to lead to the compounding interest. And it also develops and really teaches you a much more disciplined approach to your spending habits and how you really present the financial reality of what it is today. If you're making, let's say, again, $5,000 a month, if you're spending $5,000 a month, there's nothing left for savings. There's nothing left for investments. There is nothing left in its entirety. You have to make a commitment where if you're making that $5,000 and you're living on, let's say, $4,000, that gives you $1,000 every single month that you can free up, that you can use in a lot of different places. This, of course, is going to vary greatly person to person. But when you start looking at this, let's say you commit right now as today, 3%, 5%, 10%, that you're going to start an IRA, that you're going to put money into your 401k. Starting and committing to that consistent savings is going to be the game changer for the rest of your life. And if you ever want to be financially free, it is the only way that you're going to achieve that. And the fourth one is broadening your financial knowledge. This is exactly what you're doing here. And if you like the content that I'm putting out, please subscribe to the channel. We are well on our way to our 10,000 subscriber mark, just hitting 7,000 right around the corner. But when you start thinking of financial knowledge, even bigger picture, how do you save money? How do you budget? What is the spending plan? What do IRA accounts look like? What is a Roth? What is a traditional IRA? You need to know your financial acronyms. You need to have the financial knowledge to even make very basic, common decisions. This is something, unfortunately, that we do not see taught in school at all. And I'm really kind of taken back by this. Where I live in Michigan, we actually just passed something that high school seniors are going to require a half an hour of financial education. But honestly, you got to know how to read financial statements, how to read bank statements, how to write checks. You need to be and honestly, you're the only one that is going to be accountable when it comes to the financial knowledge that you have, when it comes to investing, when it comes to cryptocurrency, when it comes to anything, guys. Make sure you know it, you understand it, you can explain it, not just the very basic service level of knowing it, but looking at financial books, looking at courses, looking at, YouTube videos, webinars, online articles, books. There are so many things that can increase your financial literacy. And again, that is the exact reason why I started this channel. When I started dealing and doing a lot of the financial education and counseling piece, I quickly realized that when it comes to a younger generation, they do not know really anything about financial literacy and knowing how to invest, where to invest, what a portfolio looks like, what a brokerage account is. It was kind of crazy to see the massive gaps between the generation and making sure that my kids are not going to be subject to that. They're going to be well educated when it comes to the financial knowledge that they possess. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.